Welcome to Monster Territory, ladies and gentlemen. We got some breaking news. Willson Contreras coming to the Red Sox. My goodness. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I've been sitting here for, feels like, 3 days, 7 days, even longer. Feels like a month or 2 months at this point, just waiting for any kind of a move to happen. The Red Sox haven't made any, free agent signings up to this point. They've made a whole bunch of trades, and hey, they're keeping the trend going here. I would imagine eventually they're going to sign a free agent, but I like this move overall, bringing in Willson Contreras. Kind of ties into what we've been hearing about the Red Sox, not willing to get into longer-term commitments when it comes to guys that are over 30 years old. With Willson Contreras, has been one of the more steady hitters in the game. We'll talk about him in just a little bit, but he's getting into his 30s a little bit now, and he has 2 more years left. There is cash involved. There are players involved here. We'll get into this. So everyone, before I do, if you can, just hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's get to it here. So the Red Sox are acquiring first baseman Willson Contreras in a trade with the Cardinals, sources tell ESPN. So Ketel has here, the Red Sox trading Hunter Dobbins plus others to the Cardinals for Contreras, sources say. Well, I'm very interested with this because Contreras, with that contract, teams are going to value, have different values on players, but generally speaking, I think there is some underwater value with Willson Contreras when you take a look at what the projections are moving forward with him compared to what he's owed over the next couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see what the money is. But with Hunter Dobbins, that, again, it comes down to the money, but he has some surplus value. He did lose quite a bit of it because of the big injury he had this past year. There is some, but not as much as you would think. I love Hunter Dobbins, and I'm very sad about this. My fellow Ginger is going to the Cardinals. Hey, look at that, Got 2 trades with the Cardinals so far. Chaim Bloom has no ill will. I'm pretty sad about losing Dobbins, but this is what I've been saying here. The Red Sox have so many different guys that could be up for starting spots. You had 10 different guys, including Dobbins. He is going to be back at some point this year. They have so much pitching to deal. It makes no sense to be able to hang on to all these guys. And I'm glad they're using these resources to fill a position of need. You don't know what's going to happen with Casas here. Taking a look at Willson Contreras' numbers this past year. Hit 257 to 344 on base, 447 on the slugging, a 124 WRC+. Now, I like the move. I do like the move. We'll also talk about the defense here in a second, but the Red Sox, I think, still need to add more. He cannot be the only bat. And I'm actually very curious what that other bat ends up being, because I'm seeing some of you out there saying, hey, here's our power bat. Well, not so fast. Here we go. Let's go take a look at the numbers on StatCast. A lot of good Reds here. Again, big fan. I really do like the addition of this bat. I think he's going to fit well at Fenway Park. But what I also love is he's going to bring you some good defense over at first base. 91st percentile when it came to the outs above average. And the arm strength was pretty solid as well. Again, you all remember, Contreras, he's been a catcher for most of his career, but he moved over to first base, and he was very good there. So I think this is a really nice move for the Red Sox. They've had issues when it comes to the defense at first base for a little while now. And with the uncertainties surrounding Tristan Casas, I think this is good. Even if you get Casas back, you can still work him in. Who knows what ends up happening with Massa, but, maybe Casas can end up being your DH at some point. We'll see. Maybe Casas ends up being ready for opening day. And, and there's your big power upside bat. So getting back to who the other bat could be, I think that's really interesting. Because I think they need to add more power here. I like Contreras. He's a very consistent bat, a guy that's going to get on base. He's going to give you a good AB. I don't personally view him as that big bopper in the middle of the order. He's not the guy that's going to be that big bopper like Rafi was. A solid guy. But who's the big power guy going to be? I'm not so sure. I'm thinking of Alex Bregman or Ketel Marte. Well, which one of those bats is going to give you more power? Bregman, we all love what Bregman brought to the table. I think Bregman is a very good all-around player. He's going to give you the good offense. He's going to give you the good defense as well. But if you're looking for more of that 30 home run potential, I think you're looking at Marte here, to be honest with you. I mean, unless they think Casas is going to be ready, and then they could put him back into the lineup in some way, shape, or form. At this point, I would imagine Casas is going to be your DH. Unless Casas gets involved in some kind of a deal. You know, Craig has been on record saying you need power, right? If you want to be a team that has success in the postseason, you need to have a game-changing kind of a bat that can give you a nice, good dinger in the postseason, right? I mean, listen, with Bregman, I love Bregman. He brings everything to the table. But if you're looking for more upside with the bat, I'm looking at Marte. To be completely honest with you. So I wonder, what does this mean for Bregman? We've been hearing all the reports. The Diamondbacks getting involved. The Blue Jays supposedly getting involved. I personally think that's more of a leverage thing, especially with a team in division, right? Trying to get the Red Sox to panic a little bit. But, you know, could this be a signal to where, you know, they got Contreras now, and then he is going to be cheaper because they are going to be sending some cash. I don't know. So there's two options. Again, you could do Bregman, and if they think Casas is that power bat, then there you go. There's an option. Or you go with Marte, a guy that you know is going to give you good upside with the bat, right? That 30 home run kind of potential, and more so. And then Casas, whenever he comes back, he comes back. That's kind of where I'm at. I like this deal, but I'm very curious now what the follow-up is going to be. Are they going to pursue Ketel Marte even further at this point? Does this maybe signal they're out on Bregman? Or maybe not out, but maybe they're not going to push as hard for him? I'm just going off what Craig has said. Just going off of that because he has said that he wants to add power. Contreras is going to give you a little bit of pop, but he's not going to give you that 30 to 35 home run potential. $8 million. Wow, that's not as much as I thought it was going to be. I think Contreras, to me personally, was a little undervalued here. I'd put him a little bit higher. But, you know, you are pretty apart when it comes to the values. Negative $6 million here on BTV for the Red Sox and $9 million for the Cardinals. So, yeah, you're not going to get really close there if they're only doing $8 million. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. At the end of the day, the Red Sox, they're giving up guys that more so depth, at least in their organization. But I like Hunter Dobbins going to the Cardinals. That's what the Cardinals need. They need young pitching, cost-controlled pitching. He's a better fit with the Cardinals than he is with the Red Sox right now. Unfortunately, he had the big injury this past year. So if he didn't have that, you know, maybe he's in a guy that's got a rotation spot locked down. But, you know, they're kind of moving onward here. And he's going to be a better fit with the Cardinals. I'm a big fan of Hunter Dobbins. He's a competitor. I think that's going to be a really nice fit there. And hey, also, Blaze Jordan, Hunter Dobbins, they're reunited there over in St. Louis, so that should be pretty good. But let me know in the chat, everybody. What do you think? Give me a grade on the trade. Contreras and Cash coming to the Red Sox for Dobbins and Fajardo. Give me a trade here. For me personally, I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll ding a little bit because I was kind of hoping you get a bit more cash. But you're addressing a position of need. You're giving yourself some... you're giving yourself a very consistent bat. You're giving yourself a guy that's going to give you some good defense at first base. A good veteran guy. He's good in the clubhouse. He's going to be good with the young guys. He's always been viewed as more of a positive influence in the clubhouse. So I like everything that Contreras brings to the table. I'm a big fan of it. He plays with a lot of energy. I think he's going to fit Boston very well. I'll go A- on this because I was hoping for a little bit more cash, but that's okay. I'll only ding a couple of points. I'll go A- on this. But I see a lot of you in the chat saying B plus, A minus, A, B. So for the most part, I think everyone feels pretty positive about this one. I like it. Could you see some regression with Contreras over the next couple of years? I think you could. When you look at the metrics with him, you know, there is a bit of swing and miss. He does strike out a bit. He is going to chase out of the zone. You'd like for him to walk a little bit more. Maybe they could help adjust some things when it comes to the plate discipline, but he's giving you that really good batted ball profile. You just wonder, as he gets into his mid-30s, what is the batted ball profile going to look like over the next couple of years? Historically, as guys get into their mid-30s, you do start to see a bit of a drop-off, so that's why the projections, they are lower compared to what they were this past year. 2.8 wins above replacement, 2025, and they're projecting a 2.0, 431 on the slugging, 23 home runs. Let's see, maybe they do a bit of an update because he's going to be at Fenway Park for half a season now, so maybe they could give a little bit more of a boost. Looking at the expected home runs, they're looking at 18 for him at Fenway Park this past year. So, you know, we'll see. I think 20 to 25 homers, I think that's a pretty safe bet, personally. The one thing I keep thinking about is who's the next bat going to be? There's going to be another one. I think it's either going to be Bregman or Marte. Because when I'm thinking of Bo Bichette, I don't know, like Bo is kind of like Bregman, right? You know, just a good all-around. Well, Bregman's going to be the better all-around player, in my opinion, because of the good defense. Bichette, though, is going to be a very good bat. But he's not going to give you that high upside power bat. So I think the big X factor here is Casas. How do they view Casas? If you're asking me, I don't know what he's going to be looking like. That's not really someone that I want to count on at this point going into 2026. I want him to come back to the Red Sox when he's fully ready. I don't want this guy to rush. I'm not looking at Casas as a guy you're putting in the lineup right now. I think he could end up being pretty, good to go, but I don't want to rush him. So I'm looking at Bregman or Marte. And to me personally, if I'm looking at the tea leaves, you saw all this stuff with the Diamondbacks this past week. You've seen the reports that the Red Sox aren't really too keen on giving out long-term deals to guys that are over 30. And then, I'll also even look at this. I'll look at this too. Contreras has 2 more years guaranteed on this contract. There is a club option for 2028. But that's interesting because that makes me wonder, how involved were they for Kazuma Okamoto? Okamoto, I know Murakami got a 2-year deal, but Okamoto has a higher floor, I think. Good versatility as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Okamoto ended up getting himself a 3-year deal. With Murakami, there's a lot of question marks with the swing and miss. Okamoto, not so much. So were the Red Sox not even, I don't even know how involved they were, but if they, I think Cotillo put out that they were kicking the tires. That sounds about right. But I said that coming into the offseason. I was saying, sure, Okamoto sounds fun, but you're in this, you're back in this competitive window now. While that would be fun to, think about the possibilities of Okamoto at Fenway Park or even Murakami, they weren't sure things. I wanted the Red Sox to go after sure things. Okamoto to me was like a good fallback option. So if they weren't, but if they were involved, I wonder if that shows maybe they weren't even willing to go that long with him. All right, they were willing to go reportedly around 3 years for Pete Alonso. So I don't know. How far are they going to go for Bregman? I'm not so sure on that. So I'm looking at the tea leaves. Not keen on giving longer-term deals to guys in their 30s. You need power. The Diamondbacks popping up this past week. And you look at that connection with the Diamondbacks. He has a home out there. Has 2 children with his wife. Has a baseball program out there. Family nearby in New Mexico. So I wonder if the Diamondbacks could actually, be for real here. If that could be a place where he ends up going. I don't know, because I'm just thinking, where's this 30, 35 home run bat going to come from? Are now expected to end trade talks. I don't know. I find that interesting. Unless they think they can't get a deal done for Marte and they're counting on Costas to come back. I love Bob, but at the end of the day, he has been pretty inaccurate about some stuff. I mean, we had the whole Zach Gallen thing with the Cubs, like, what was that, a few weeks ago? I see you in the chat. Jose Abreu, Bichette is the guy. Could Bichette be the guy? Could it be where, because he's under 30, maybe the Red Sox feel more comfortable giving him a contract? Listen, that's another thing I've been thinking about with Bregman too, is if the Diamondbacks offer was good, well then, I don't know, why isn't he taking it? Why hasn't he already put his name down on the paper? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's interesting because you would think they would have a lot of good arguments going for him, that, being where he has an off-season home, family in New Mexico. There's a lot of things going for the Diamondbacks over there. But you kind of wonder, why hasn't he taken anything? What's the money looking like? What's the, what are the figures there? What are the contract structures? If they have offered something, what are the structures looking like? So I don't know. And maybe the Red Sox are just waiting this out. Maybe they feel like he will come back. And, you go back to even, late season, Sam Kennedy. I was listening to this earlier. Sam Kennedy was talking about, Bregman, saying, oh, yeah, Bregman, he likes it here. We love Bregman here. He was saying he was surprised about how Passan reported that he was going to opt out of his contract. And we've seen reports lately, I think, Red Sox Stats, he put something out that he had heard that people within the Red Sox were surprised that Bregman is, talking to some other teams. Right. And maybe, they thought it was a sure thing that he was going to come back, and now they're kind of back on their heels a little bit. Right. So maybe the Red Sox feel like they need to start pushing for him a little bit more. I will say this. If you could find a way to bring in Bregman and you brought in Contreras, I think that's really good. I think that's very good. I mean, you think about that clubhouse leadership. I mean, that's great. I would love that. I do wonder if Bregman is going to be the guy. Does he go to Arizona? Does he maybe Chicago or something like that? But then I think about Nightingale too, and what Nightingale just said. I mean, if they're expected to end trade talks for Marte, well then, if he's off the board, then hey, Bregman or Bichette, I would think. I personally think they need to get more of a power bat. We did get Bob on the Marte thing. I'm going to stay tuned on that one. Maybe that's hopeful thinking. Maybe that's wishful thinking. But I don't know. I feel like Marte could still be a possibility. I don't know. Who knows? I think the Red Sox would like to have him. But we have been reading that Bregman is the number one priority. That's something that's been reported multiple times. We saw this past week. They were caught off guard, with the D-backs. And we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. Red Sox fan, Marte is the most logical player. Definitely logical, but in the end, if they can't come up with a deal, then it is what it is. If you can't get Marte, you have to do what you can to get Bregman or Bo.